the match that I'm looking forward to a lot is Xavier versus RS. Boy, you know, this match has just got to be full with tension. This has got everything. You might as well make a Hollywood major movie blockbuster production out of this matchup. You've got two teammates. You've got two guys who have obviously been a little bit antagonistic since their last meeting. You've got two guys who fought a Herculean epic encounter, a war that shattered everything all around them and left echoes resounding through history, facing up again in today's matchup. And you've also got two of the most skilled players, two players who are capable of raising their game to dizzying heights, also playing today. And it's just going to be, I just think it's going to be the most fantastic matchup ever, and it's going to be really enjoyable to watch. And obviously, my pick would have to be Xavier, but the map is Hitchhiker, and again, I've always felt that Hitchhiker does favor Terran a little bit, and the last time these two guys met up on Hitchhiker, we saw, sorry, actually it's not Hitchhiker, sorry, it's Python, that's game 2, sorry, the map is Python. So actually, because of the fact the map is Python, I'm sorry about that, that's noobness by me, but the fact that the map is Python, I'm going to have to give the game to Xavier almost straight away, because Python is first of all a map that we've seen Zerg players do very well on in general. The only Zerg player I saw that was completely overwhelmed by a Terran player was when I saw Biflash take out Yarnak Yellow's brother, Luxury GSP Zerg, and Luxury was just completely caught off guard by a brilliant rush by Yarnak. I don't think Iris is going to try something that audacious, but at the same time, we saw Xavier play on Python, and Xavier has, again, you can't talk about Xavier having a slump. Xavier lost one match against Bisu, and then he lost in the Worldwide Invitational Finals, and people said he had a slump. How can you call that a slump? Okay, he did lose a couple of games here and there, whereas he looked nigh on unbeatable, but you've got to realize that every player loses sometime, and this is a comment I made about Nada. Nada has lost a few games recently, but that does not mean to me that he is slumping. It just means to me that he's overworked, that he hasn't had adequate time to prepare for his games. And I think it was the same with Xavier. He was just playing so many games. He was in the Pro League. I mean, last season, CJ were relying on him on the Pro League, and he was in the OSL and the MSL and everything. And you can't expect a player to play that many games and not lose a few. Just that's the way Starcraft is. No one can win all the time. And I'm probably a little bit behind you guys because my stream has buffered on a couple of occasions. So Siku knows quite well how to sync the streams, and I think a few people have commented on how to sync the stream, so you guys should know how to do that by now. If you don't, just ask in the chat in SC.org. I'm sure someone will tell you how to sync the streams. And they're just looking at the map on my screen right now, so if you're this is the time to sync. They're just looking at the 3D view of the map on my screen. For anyone who's behind, you can use that to sync up. So anyway, Python, God, yes, what an amazing map. I love it. I really love it. And consequentially, even though I did grant temporary amnesty to Monty Hall after Game 4 yesterday, that amnesty has been withdrawn. Monty Hall is back on my kill list, but I am as in love with Python as ever. I've yet to see I know I'm beginning to sound a little bit repetitive, and I'm probably beginning to sound as repetitive as Justin is in his play, but Python is just such a great map, and I really think we're going to see a great matchup between these two guys here today. I think the interesting thing is going to be to see how Iris copes with Xavier. We saw UUV, who's been playing really well, although unfortunately I don't think UUV was back to the very top of his form yet. He has been playing really well, but unfortunately he has crashed out, of the tournaments, but he hasn't regained the top of his form. But Xavier just made complete waste of UUV on this map. UUV did do did show us some brilliance towards the end of the game and nearly came back and won that matchup against Xavier, but ultimately he was defeated. So I think it's important to note that Xavier does have this map does favor Xavier's style of play, and he does know how to win on this map, and he has been decimating his opponents left, right, and center thus far. I mean, Stork has looked in deadly form. Stork has been destroying everyone, and Xavier had no problems dealing with him. And I'm sure Xavier, who hasn't been playing too much in the individual pro leagues recently, I might note, has had lots of time to prepare and practice. Iris, on the other hand, too, has had lots of time to prepare and practice, and has looked pretty solid, apart from that drumming he got from Reach, who we will see playing later on today. So I think it's going to be important how Iris copes with Xavier on this map. Can he pressure Xavier? Can he stop Xavier from getting that extra expansion to the third gas? That's going to be the key, because Xavier likes to go for that extra expansion, likes to get the third gas. And once Xavier gets that, his gameplay becomes nigh on unstoppable at the end. And it looks like we're going to be starting up really soon. I've got the intro song playing here. And again, if I'm behind you guys a little bit, I'm sorry. My stream did buffer on a couple of occasions. So by now, hopefully you guys know how to sync the game. and I'm going to give a countdown at, when the countdown starts. So in terms of predictions, I would have to agree with DJ at her style, who once again, kudos to you, DJ. Brilliant post on teamliquid.net in your pre-match commentary and your pre-match analysis, and I have to agree with him that I feel that this map, Savior is going to come out on top, but you can never count Iris out. He is one of the players who has shown that he can take Savior to the limit, and even at his best, Savior is vulnerable to someone like Iris. So I think we're going to be starting up right now, and I'm just going to take a couple of seconds break till the countdown. Sorry, I was just having a sip of water there. And God, look at the split screen view mode. The intensity on this, guys. I mean, you could almost see the rage and the hatred. I bet Iris just wants to just walk out of that booth. And here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let the games begin, guys. Let the fun begin. Alright, here we go. Python, Savior versus Iris. And I was saying, I bet at this point in time, Iris would just love to walk out of that booth and just break Savior's neck. I bet he doesn't want to play Starcraft. And if he loses this BO3 again, I don't think he'll want to. I don't think I think Savior might want to hire a few bodyguards, because Iris looks like a tough bloke. And we've got cross positions on the map. Iris has started up at the 12 o'clock position, and Savior is down at the 6 o'clock position. And I feel that will favor Savior. I think the longer distance is going to favor Savior in numerous ways. I think first of all, it's going to favor Savior because it's going to prevent any kind of early cheese against him. Although again, with exactly similar positions, we saw Flash rush against Luxury. But I think these positions are going to favor Savior because he is much less likely to cheese. He's much more likely to play a standard 3-hatch build play, and he's going to find it much easier to defend with the vast distance between the two spawn locations on this map. The other reason I think it's going to favor Savior is, again, in the middle to late game. As I've said, Zerg players, I find them vulnerable at 2 points. There are 2 or 3 points where a good Zerg player is really vulnerable, including Savior. And Iris going for the early gas, so Iris is definitely not... Oh, sorry, no, he's not. He's going to go for the supply depot. That just the SCD was obscured there by the Star League logo, and I thought he was going for the early gas. He's just going for the first supply depot. Just wouldn't make sense at all to take a refinery before even your first supply depot. That would be ridiculous. So anyway, but it did look like that because of the stupid logo. Anyway, sorry, what was I saying? So Zerg players are vulnerable at a couple of points, I feel, especially Savior. And the first point, obviously, is when they're just producing their Mutalisks. They might have just gotten their Spire up, they're just building those Mutalisks. And usually a Medic and Marine rush at that point can be absolutely damaging to them. And Savior sending that first drone out, it doesn't look like he sent that first drone out to... Okay, he's sending out 2 drones, so 1 to scout and 1 to build up his natural hatchery. And I think the purpose of that is Savior just doesn't want to get caught unawares. He didn't find Iris with that Overlord, and he wants to get his drone into Iris's base and get that scout away before Iris managed to block the ramp off with the Marine. And because Savior did scout Savior scouted clockwise with his Overlord, which is unusual for him. Normally likes to counterclockwise. And Iris has actually started up 2 barracks. So Iris going for the second barracks straight away versus Savior. Savior's taking the natural expand. So both players going with, fairly standard builds. I would have predicted that on a map like this, Iris would have probably wanted to go for an earlier command center, probably 1 barracks into command center, or maybe even, I suppose that he can go 2 barracks into command center, but I thought he would want to start that command center up pretty early and try to expand pretty early on a map like this. But I suppose the fact that he didn't scout early means he wouldn't know if Savior was going to try and cheese something. But I just think you can always, if you're playing against Savior, you can almost always gamble against Savior. So anyway, in terms of him not rushing, actually I've got to take that back, because Savior has been known to 4-pool his opponents before, or was it 5-pool? Sorry, his opponents before, and I think it was in the same matchup. I can't remember who it was. It was a Terran player that he did 7-pool against, and then again 9-pool against twice in a row. So that was obviously some scary crap from Savior. And Iris now just pushing forward with a couple of Marines just to put a little bit of pressure on Savior, and just to deny Savior any kind of scouting information. Savior's drone wasn't able to get inside Iris' space, and Savior's actually setting up that creep colony quite early, just in anticipation of that. And Iris has actually been able to get inside Savior's main, and Savior has set up that 3rd hatchery as well. So Iris is able to get inside Savior's main with that SCV, but we're not going to see an Odin style, a Flash style rush here because of the fact that Savior has got that creep colony building early. And Iris is pumping those Marines down. Iris is sending quite a few Marines down from those 2 barracks, and he's got that SCV waiting to build a command center as natural expo, but he hasn't taken a refiner or anything. It looks like he might just be almost going for a pure Marine rush, perhaps trying to emulate what Flash did on that matchup. But I just don't think this is going to be very successful if he does try to do that. He is going to be able to successfully pressure Savior a little bit and force him to spend some economy on those sunken.